Tu Tien smelled it before he took it out of the bag. She was at the outdoor sink, washing the mud off her hands. She had been at the market since morning, sold the last of the eggplant by noon, come home to find Vang had given birth in the corner of the shed while she was gone. When Jack came through the gate with a plastic bag and a look on his face that she recognized as the look of someone who has done something they are and cannot wait to show, she turned off the tap. Jack. Yes. What is in that bag? Something good. There is a smell coming from that bag. He looked at the bag, then at her. You can smell it from there? I can smell it from here, from the gate, possibly from the road. She dried her hands on her work cloth. Is there a dead animal in that bag? There is absolutely not a dead animal in that bag, Tu Tien. Then what is that smell? He reached into the bag and took out the durian. Round, heavily spiked. The pale green yellow of something that had traveled a long way from the south to be here. He held it out with both hands like a man presenting something valuable, which he was. Tu Tien looked at it. That is the smell, she said. That is the smell, he confirmed. It is supposed to smell like that. She took one step back, slowly. The way you step back from something you have assessed and found to require distance. Tu Tien had sold eggplant at the market that morning for Ds. 000 dong a kilogram. She had picked them herself from the garden. Before sunrise, the young ones, the ones that had not yet gone tough, the ones she picked by feel in the early dark, because she had learned by now that the best eggplant came off the plant before the sun hit it. She had carried them down the hill in 2 baskets and set up at the edge of the market, the way the other women did, calling out, weighing, making change, talking to the woman beside her about whether the tomato garden 2 plots over was getting enough water. She had sold most of it by 10, the rest by noon. She had kept back a few for dinner. Walking home from the market, she had thought about the contract meeting Jack had mentioned that morning. He had been quiet at breakfast, the particular quiet of someone running numbers in his head, and she had not asked, because she had learned when to ask and when to let the quiet do its work. She had thought, either the contract goes well or it doesn't. Either way, he comes home. That is the part that does not change. She had come home to find Vang's shed quiet in the way that means something has already happened, and looked in the corner and counted 6. 6. She had stood in the shed doorway for a long time. Then she had cooked porridge with pork and put it near enough that Vang could reach it. Vang had eaten without looking up from her puppies. 1 black one, 1 spotted, 4 gold. Good dog, Tu Tien had thought. She knew exactly what she was doing. She just needed somewhere safe to do it. It is a specialty of the South. Jack said, "My mother likes it." Your mother has eaten this many times. She likes it cold from the refrigerator. Tu Tien looked at the durian on the table. Jack had set it down on a plate. The smell had expanded to fill the kitchen the way certain things do when given a flat surface and no wind. I cannot imagine your mother eating this voluntarily, Tu Tien said. My mother eats it enthusiastically. I have seen it. She is a woman of many surprises. Tu Tien. He was already picking up the knife. Just try it. I promise the taste is different from the smell. The smell is the taste arriving early with bad news. Jack laughed. The real kind, the one that came out when he was not thinking about whether to laugh, just laughing. Tu Tien watched him cut the durian open and thought about how long it had been since she had heard that laugh at full volume in this kitchen. Today was a good day. She could feel it before he said anything. It was in the way he had come through the gate, not fast, not urgent, just easy, the way a person walks when something that has been heavy for a long time has been set down somewhere. Jack, she said. Yes. He was pulling the flesh from the shell. Something happened today, not just the durian. He looked up. He was smiling still, but differently now. the smile underneath the other smile, the one that meant something real. "I signed the contract," he said. Tu Tien put the spoon in her mouth. She had held it at a distance for 2 full minutes, while Jack explained about the flavor profile and the texture and the way the smell was misleading. And the South had been eating this fruit for generations, and it was exported abroad, which meant other countries agreed it was worthwhile. She had held her hand over her nose and looked at the pale yellow flesh and decided that a woman who had mixed concrete in highland rain and packed drainage channels in knee-deep mud was not going to be defeated by a fruit. She put the spoon in her mouth and chewed. Silence. "Well," Jack said, "it's..." She chewed more carefully. "Sweet. Yes. Very sweet. And very," she was looking for the word, "heavy. Like something rich. Yes, it doesn't taste like how it smells. No, that is the central fact of durian." She took another piece. The nausea from the smell was still there at the edge of things, but the taste was doing something entirely different. Creamy, dense, the sweetness of something that had been working on itself for a long time. Her stomach moved in a complicated way, not entirely bad, not entirely good. She set down the spoon. "I need to sit," she said. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. The smell is just..." She pressed her lips together. "Strong." Jack put the plate a few feet further away. The smell did not move with it because the smell had already colonized the kitchen. Tu Tien sat down on the low stool near the door and breathed the outside air and waited for her stomach to decide what it thought. Jack watched her. She did not notice him watching. She was sitting with her elbows on her knees and one hand resting flat on her stomach, not pressing, not deliberate, just resting there, the way a hand sometimes rests without its owner noticing. And she was looking at the floor and breathing slowly, and the afternoon light from the doorway caught the side of her face. And Jack stood very still. He had seen that hand position before, not on Tu Tien, on Ly. Every day for 2 months. The unconscious hand on the belly, the hand that belongs to a body that is doing something the mind has not caught up with yet. He did not say anything. He picked up the durian plate and put it outside on the step and came back in and filled 2 glasses of water and set one in front of her. "Drink some water," he said. She looked up. "I'm fine." "I know. Drink some water anyway." They made braised pork for dinner. Tu Tien went to the garden and came back with vegetables. Jack cleaned up the kitchen. They worked side by side the way they had worked every evening for months, not talking much, moving around each other in the easy way of people who have learned the geography of a shared space. The pork went into the pot. The caramelizing sugar filled the kitchen with something warm and good that had nothing to do with durian. Tu Tien stirred and tasted and adjusted and stirred again. "The client knew your mother," she said. "Before I was born, Jack was washing vegetables at the sink. She helped his family. He never forgot. She helped a lot of people." "I know." He paused. "I didn't know about this one." Tu Tien stirred the pot. "She never said anything to you about it." "No. That's why she did it." Jack turned off the tap. He stood at the sink for a moment with his wet hands and the sound of the pot and the evening coming in through the open door. "Tu Tien." "Yes. Are you feeling better?" She glanced over her shoulder. "From the durian?" "From the durian." "Yes." She turned back to the pot. "I told you I was fine." "I know," he said. "I just wanted to ask." She did not answer. She was steering slowly, her back to him, and he could not see her face. He watched her shoulders, the set of them, the way she held herself, and thought about things he did not yet have words for. After dinner, they sat on the veranda. The farm was quiet. The shed was quiet in the good way, the 6-puppy way. The drainage channels ran east in the dark. Somewhere on the eastern edge of the garden, the frangipani tree was standing in soil that had held through one storm already. Tu Tien had her knees pulled up and her arms around them, and she was looking out at the dark farm, the way she looked at things when she was thinking about more than one thing at once. Vong did it alone. She said, "She knew where to go," Jack said. "She chose the corner I couldn't reach. She didn't need you to reach it. She just needed the space to be there." Tu Tien rested her chin on her knees. 6. A silence. The good kind. The farm breathing around them. Then Jack's phone vibrated on the step beside him. He looked at the screen. His mother. He picked up. Jack. Her voice was the evening voice, the one she used when the day was done and she was sitting somewhere quiet. "How was the meeting?" "It went well, meh. The contract is signed." A pause. "I know," she said. "He called me." Jack went still. "He called you." "He wanted me to know." Her voice was calm. The way it was calm when she had been expecting something for a long time and it had finally arrived. "I am glad, Con." "May." He looked at Tu Tien beside him. Tu Tien was watching the farm, not listening to his side of the call. "You never told me you knew him. You never needed to know until you needed to know." He breathed out. "That is a very circular answer. It is a very accurate answer." A pause. "Jack, is Tu Tien with you?" "Yes, we're on the veranda." "Can you give her the phone?" Something in the way she said it, not a question. Not exactly. The particular weight of a sentence from his mother that had been decided before she picked up the phone. "Meh. What is this about?" "Give her the phone, Con." Soft. Certain. There are some things a woman needs to hear from another woman first. Jack looked at Tu Tien. Tu Tien had turned from the farm. She was looking at him. She had heard enough of his tone to know something had shifted. He held out the phone. She looked at it for a moment. Then she took it. "Meh?" she said. And Jack stood up and walked to the edge of the veranda and looked out at the farm and gave them the dark and the distance and whatever it was that needed to happen next. The frangipani tree stood in its corner. The puppies were warm in their shed. The contract was signed. The durian was in the refrigerator. Some things arrive before you are ready to name them. Some things plant themselves and wait.